Our first case is case number 224C0639. Martin Dugas versus Darlene Michelle Ross Parrish. If the parties are present, please indicate that.
I'm present.
Okay, everybody talked at once. Just give me your name.
Marty Dugas.
And
Okay.
Darlene Ross.
All right. I've looked at the file, and I think this has, well, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to summarize it and then let you give me some background. This case was adjourned from October 13th at the request of the defendant. In this case, there was a tree removal quote for $500. That was later reduced because of the scope of the work to $300. The plaintiff took out 3 trees and communicated with the defendant. I have to tell you, there were some photos attached, but they're too dark. I can't see anything. They're Xeroxes. It appears that or at least the plaintiff alleges that they made many attempts to contact the defendant, and the defendant just kept putting the plaintiff off. The plaintiff is seeking $550, and I'll need to find out where that number comes from. So, can I have the parties both raise your right hands, please? Mr. Dugas, you go first. How was my summary of the issues here?
Good. That's good.
Okay.
It's very good.
All right.
Yeah, the copies I sent over were color, so I'm not sure if they came out. Yeah, there should be color. The whole package should be in color, so I'm not sure what you got.
Yeah, I got Xeroxes that are just almost black.
Yeah, that's not mine.
Huh. Well, then I don't have them, but I'll
Okay.
tell you, it's for the purposes of this case, as I understand it, I don't need the pictures. I assume they show me that there's been three trees felled. Is that correct?
Yes, they were pine trees. There were 3 trees that were closest to the house.
Okay.
So I cut those down first. They took a little bit of skill to cut them down, but I got them on the ground, and then she was supposed to take care of them. So out of a total of 5 trees, I put 3 on the ground. I came back the next week, and she had her family out there working on it.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Was there a written contract?
Nope.
Okay.
No contract.
Well, there's the contract, but it's oral in nature, I would assume. All right. I saw the quote was reduced from 500 to 300 based on the fact that you didn't, you reduced the scope of the work, and yet you're claiming $550. How do you reach that number?
Well, the 550, I didn't know how long this was going to drag out, and how long it was going to take, and how much of my time it was going to require. So I put the 550 on it, but I would be happy with my 300. I'm just looking to be paid for the work that I did.
All right. I assumed that was the case. Let me talk to Ms. Ross. Ms. Ross.
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say about this?
So I initially contacted the gentleman's company via Angie's List, and there's also another site called Handy that I engaged with him to come out and look at the remaining items. So we had the perimeter of the burn area cut down previously, and the larger trees we wanted to have a professional because it is closest to my home as well as the play structure.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Dumas came out, as well as I had a number of probably 5 or 6 other professionals that came out. And I had requested, he gave me a price on site. He said $500 have the 5 trees taken down. There are 5 in total. And because of his license and insurance, his insurance would not allow him to do the chipping of the trees. I said, that's fine, that's not a problem. You know, just let me know what it is that you can and cannot do.
All right, can I just ask you a couple of questions?
Yes, sir.
Did he cut down the 3 trees?
No.
So the 3 trees are still standing?
So let me go on to explain, because this is a
Okay,
little.
but let's get to the issue about, you know, whether the trees were cut and whether you own $300. Okay, go ahead.
So I had a conversation with him. He was supposed to come out and bring me his license and his insurance information before he started. I had scheduled with him. He was supposed to come out. He didn't show initially. He came back on some random day, because at the time when Mr. Dumas came out, he had a cast on his arm. And I asked him, are you doing the work or do you have a crew? What does that look like? And he said, oh, I have a crew. You know, it won't be me. Well, on this random day that we didn't have scheduled, I'm upstairs because I work from home. I'm upstairs in my office, and my dad, who lives with us, his bedroom faces the back portion of the house. My dad called me and said, hey, is someone supposed to be cutting trees down? I said, no. So I come downstairs, and it's this gentleman and another, like a teenager, trying to cut down the tree. His chainsaw got stuck on one of the trees, and he actually left his chain in the tree. And I told him, no, we don't have an agreement. I'm still waiting for your license and insurance in order to move forward. We don't have a contract. I wanted to get a contract. These are all the things that I articulated to him when we had the initial conversation and the subsequent phone conversation.
Okay. Well, let me get back to my question. Were the 3 trees successfully cut down?
No.
So
I actually submitted photos to the court that shows that.
Okay, well, maybe those are the photos I have in my file that came across as Xeroxes, and they're just
No.
blank. I just can't.
I sent them via email.
Yeah.
As attachments. So I don't know how they actually produce them for you for your visibility.
Well, I have one that's marked play structure, reference play structure. Would those be yours?
I don't believe so.
Those are mine.
Those are yours, Mr. Dugas. I don't have color photos. I just have these black Xerox copies, and I can't see anything. Okay, let me go back. I mean, it seems incomprehensible to me that one party says there 3 trees were cut down and the other party says no, they weren't.
I agree.
Hang on for 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I have probably the plaintiff photographs. Mr. Ward was able to pull them up for me. It looks like 3 trees were cut down. They show the trees and branches on the ground.
So,
well,
Judge,
that's what they show. So you tell me why that's not true, Ms. Ross.
So we had work done prior to him coming on site, and that's, I don't know if I articulated that initially. You should see there are areas around the burn area where we had bushes, and there were trees that were already laid down, because it was a huge area with bushes and trees, and there were 2 trees that were already there that were already laid down. There were 5 trees in total that were standing. And if you see the pictures that I submitted in July, those trees were still standing, which is well after the timeline that he said that he came out to cut trees down.
Well,
and I've submitted an invoice for the professional that did put the trees down. and I
So
have
let
an
me ask you
agreement.
this. Let me ask you this. Is it possible that the trees were cut down, but these aren't the trees you wanted cut down?
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, okay. Mr. Dugas, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, if you go and you look at the text messages, I made copies of all of them. Plus I have
Yeah.
a voicemail on the day that, if you needed to hear the voicemail, I kept that. But the text messages clearly state you're coming out on this date and you're cutting down the trees.
Yeah,
And then,
I do have those.
But
And then-
but you were
and then
supposed to provide.
subsequent-
No, Ms. Ross, remember the rules. One person
I'm
speaks
sorry.
at a time. You'll get a chance. Mr.
Yes,
Dugas,
sir,
go ahead.
thank you.
And subsequently, you can see the follow-up conversation where it says, oh, I'll contact you in a couple days. I'm busy right now. I mean, if I didn't cut down the trees, we wouldn't have had text messages like that.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ross, you wanted to add something?
I do, because this gentleman he would randomly show up at my house to the point where I had to have a no trespassing order issued
had to what?
by Washington
Sorry.
County Sheriff. He
I'm sorry.
continued.
You got it. You got some sort of order from the sheriff's department?
Yes, I had a no trespassing order because he continued to come by my house. The day that we had the professional out there shipping the trees and starting the work, he came out and asked, could he help? Which, for the life of me, I don't understand. That doesn't make sense.
Well, I tell you, not a lot of this is making sense to me.
No, it's not. And I tried in a very gentle manner to continue to put him off because I didn't want to have a confrontational engagement with him because he just kept randomly coming by, and I thought he would continue to get the message that we're not interested. I don't want you at the house if you don't have all the credentials, period. Because not only did I need those trees cut down, I also needed the trees cut down around the pond in my backyard. I needed to have that level of documentation in order to get reimbursement from my HOA. And this person,
Yeah,
which
go
is
ahead.
not something that he had knowledge of.
Okay, just explain to me about the text messages.
So he texted me well after everything was done,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why are you texting me? Oh, well, can I come out? No, I've already told you, no, we're not interested. He literally came to my door. My son answered the door, and I told him, please don't come by my house anymore.
Well, how did you respond? Did you respond to any of these text messages?
No, I did not. And he continued to call. And I said, after I told him, stop calling, stop texting, I'm not interested. This is not okay. And I contacted Washington County Sheriff, and they submitted a no trespassing order that they hand delivered to him. And that's shortly after I received the court summons to come into court. So this is the summons, the trespassing order was it was a couple weeks after we shipped all the rest of the trees. And like he randomly came out. I had people that I had contracted to do the work, and he asked, could he help them cut my trees down? Who does that?
Well, I have a text message from you after a couple from Mr. Dumas. It says, sorry, I was trying to text you, but I'm on a conference call. I'll call you this evening when I can.
Because he kept calling me and kept calling me to the point where I was like, oh my God, I will give you a call back. But then my husband said, don't call him. We've already talked to him. Leave it alone. The next phone call will be to Washington County. Because I was trying to be nice.
Okay. All right. I'll be right back. Okay, folks. Here's my ruling. Mr. Dumas, when I asked you, was there a contract? You said no. And that concerns me because it seems that Ms. Ross is indicating that, in fact, you guys had not agreed specifically on anything. The standard of proof here is not like a criminal case where it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. The standard of proof in a civil case is by a preponderance of the evidence. that means that if the scales are even, one side tips it slightly in favor, in their favor. In this matter, I'm going to claim, since the plaintiff has the burden of proof, that the plaintiff has not met that burden, and I'm going to find in favor of the defendant in this matter. Now, Mr. Dumas, I want to tell you frankly, I'm a little bit, well, I'm going to just tell you this. If you don't agree with that ruling, or you think it's somehow improper, feel free to appeal. It's an easy process. Call a clerk, 7 days, fill out a form, and then it'll go to the judge. So that's my ruling. I thank you both for being here this morning, and that's it. You're both done for today.
Thank you.
Yep.